part of a course in oceanography, but it's also been a dream of mine to come to Antarctica for a number of years, since I was 12 actually.
It's so hard to describe the type of feeling you get from stepping on the Antarctic continent, because it's somewhere so few people have ever stepped. And I think that's what's really struck me the most, is that very, very few people have been able to step where I'm stepping right now, and that you kind of have an obligation that comes with that, to make sure you learn as much as you can about where you are and make sure you advocate for what you're looking at.
So far, I've learned this is a pretty dynamic place. There's a lot more to it than just ice and rock. Actually, a lot of people have been saying it's like a completely different planet, like nothing they've seen before, been able to experience before. So it's a completely different landscape from what you're used to. No trees at all. Actually, no vegetation except for a few mosses. But I'm actually surprised at the incredible amount of wildlife and the things that are able to sustain life and persist down here despite the hard conditions.
I don't think we realize how sensitive the polar regions are to climate change. So they're really the foreground for climate change on our planet. And you can really see examples. We've been learning a lot on our trip about how the ice shelves are changing, especially on this side of the continent. So it's pretty obvious when you're here about the amount of ice that's floating around, and even looking at the background where there should be ice and there is no ice right now. So it's pretty apparent.
Antarctica affects so much of the rest of the world, and people see the poles as being these faraway places, but really the poles have a huge impact on what happens throughout the rest of the globe. And in turn, the things that happen in the center, that happen where most people live, those affect the poles. So everything's more connected than you think.
I think people need to realize that the poles are closer than we think. People think of the poles as really far away places that we don't have an effect on or an impact on, and that don't really impact us, but that's not true at all. And I think it's really important to know that everything cycles through and is connected, and we need to preserve these areas.
I think the world leaders should come out here and see this place for themselves. You don't really understand the changes that are happening to the continent, or even what it's about, until you're actually here. So my advice for the world leaders would be to come and see this place firsthand.
I think if I could give one message to world governments about the poles, is just to really realize how important the poles are, and to focus a lot of attention on protecting the poles, because really if you protect the poles, you're protecting everything in between them. You're protecting the planet.